Have you ever tried to help someone only to watch them pull away? In this video, you're going to learn how to stop pushing people away when you really want to help them, and how I eventually realized that they weren't the problem. I was. It was how I was trying to help them. So if you are a parent, teacher, coach, consultant, if you've got a big heart and some hard won wisdom, and if you want to positively impact other people's lives, this video is for you. I'm going to share with you the subtle shifts that help people desire your guidance instead of resisting it. And the first key to that is what I call the teaching trap or the proving problem. Many years ago, I was living in Bali, Indonesia, and a friend of mine, a beautiful friend from the yoga world, invited me over to his house for a potluck dinner. Awesome. So my friend and I went to the dinner. We traipsed through the rice field. We got there, came in, bunch of beautiful, glowing people. Indeed, dishes, potluck affair, dishes, food, and then we realized we'd been tricked. It was a classic bait and switch because really, it wasn't a potluck, it was a satsang. And what that meant was my friend, from the best of intentions, I love him still absolutely. He wanted to set something up so that his teacher, his guru, could teach to everybody else. So before we're going to eat, we need to go in the other room and sit down and listen to this guy teach. And he probably had some wonderful things to teach. Now, the fact that it was in a fake Indian, fake, it's not the right word, a manufactured Indian accent, well, minor detail. In any case, the teaching trap is when we need to teach, right? When we need to teach, and this was like so much a part of my early life, I cringe at it now. I was doing my best, right? Don't judge me. And it's like, let me teach you the right way of doing it. Let me show you what you're doing wrong. Oh, goodness. I pushed a lot of people away with that. And it's a phase that most of us go through early in our lives. If we've got that big heart and if we've got some wisdom, we see them things. Hey, you're not doing that right. Well, sometimes what's going on there is I'll speak for I, and you see if you resonate with this, I'll speak for me. Sometimes it's I want to show how smart I am. I want to show how wise I am. Now, it doesn't mean that I don't also want to help them, though. Did they ask for it? Do they want it? We'll come back to that. Right. One of my favorite expressions is anything that must be proven is already doubtful. Anything that must be proven is already doubtful. And the key to helping people lean in, desire your wisdom, right? Desire your care is first to find out, do they want it? Are they open to it? So, an early phase is needing to. I gotta show. Well, I'll tell you another story. This one's even more embarrassing. When I went to college, that was the time when I became vegetarian. I stopped eating meat, right? And for me, it was for ethical reasons. I didn't find the killing of animals compatible with loving them. And my sophomore year of college, I moved to James Madison University, and they had I don't know what it was, vegetarian club or something like that. And I was all excited. I'm like, okay. And so we did things like build paper mache cows and stand in front of the dining hall and tell people why they shouldn't eat meat. right? I didn't go so far as to be doing like the throwing blood on people kind of thing. However, here's how far I did go. I became such an evangelist, such a proselytizer for vegetarianism that I would go into the dining hall, sit down, and the other people at the table would get up and leave. I actually said to a woman who was a friend of mine, I sat down with her at the table one time and saw her eating bacon. I was like, pig good? I cringe now. Right? I was so obnoxious. I didn't mean to be. I didn't know any better. So, stage one, I need to teach. I need to show they're doing it wrong. Look how smart I am. Stage two is a lot more like, hey, you know what? I've got something to share. Are you interested? Would you like it? Right? Are you open? And that brings us to a great distinction. Are you open? So somebody might say, yeah, Daniel, I'm open. Can you hear the tone? I'm open. I'm open because I don't want to say no. I'm not a closed minded person. And, if you're offering me something, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. And I'm open can kind of be like, I'm just going to be polite. I don't want to have a confrontation. Um, I don't want you to, feel like you can't share. So much better is, would you like to hear? Do you want this? The difference between I'm open, right? And let's look at this from the other side too. When you are somebody to whom someone else has offered a gift, some wisdom, a way of looking at things, a perspective, what's your response? Do you say no, which is totally valid? Do you say I'm open, but don't really want it? Or like, yeah, I would like it. We'll come back to the key of that in a little bit. So, key one, the teaching trap or the proving problem. Right? Now, let's be clear. I'm not suggesting in any way here that teaching is bad or a problem. I love teaching, right? And I love that in my own teaching career, I moved beyond needing to teach to loving to teach. Right? And here's one of the ways it showed up for me here's one of the ways of distinguishing this that I have found, and you may find useful too, is when it comes to preparing, right? Okay, I have a broadcast today, or I'm teaching a class tomorrow, I'm leading a webinar, I've got a workshop, whatever it is that one is teaching. Preparation is great, powerful, useful. Now, there's a value in extemporaneous speaking too. And I think it was Eisenhower who said, plans are useless, preparation is essential. What does that mean? The act of preparing, for me in the early days, preparing was, I want to get this right. I don't want to mess up. Why? Because I want some approval, right? I want people to think I'm okay. I want to think I'm okay. And if they think if I think they think I'm okay, then I believe I'm okay. Confusing, right? So my preparation was often like, I want to get all this right and say the right thing and make it so it's good, so I'll be good. Stressful. Right? And I used to put off, procrastinate the preparation because it was stressful. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing bad. For most of us, that's a stage we go through. You now, though, can jump ahead to the way preparation can be joyous. Because now when I prepare, what I know is I'm actually learning more about this thing that I'm so passionate about, I offered to teach. Early in my judo career, not that early actually. I was fairly far along. I was already a black belt in judo. I moved to an island called Martha's Vineyard, and there was no judo there. And I was like, man, I don't, I want to keep training. So I was like, okay, well, I'll start teaching it. I didn't know that much about business in those days, or human psychology. So I offered free classes. Ta-da! Guess how many people came? Not many. Because generally speaking, when we don't pay for something, we don't value it. There are exceptions. Oftentimes, when there is a price tag on something, then people value it. They want it. Right? So, teaching, when you say, hey, I would love to teach this thing, I'd love to teach you about nutrition, about human psychology, about broadcasting, yoga, Pilates, right? Macrame, I don't know, whatever the thing is that you love and you would love to share with people, so valuable to have people pay. Doesn't even matter necessarily how much, right? Because when they pay, then they're also saying, yes, I want to learn, right? In some way. So then the preparation becomes a whole different thing. One, I know, yeah, they want to learn, right? They've put forward $1 or $100 or $1,000 for this thing. So clearly they want to learn. And they believe that I have something I can share with them, right? They read my flyer or my website, whatever it is. So they believe that I have something to share with them. So now my preparation gets to be, wow, I do have something of value here, and I'm going to refine that. So the second principle here, the second key is teaching refines the teacher. I love teaching, and I love helping others to teach and teach better and to start teaching. Years ago, when I was leading yoga teacher trainings, the joy that I experienced when people said, nah, I don't really want to teach. And then they discovered more of, one, how much they love it. Two, that actually it ain't rocket surgery. Teaching is only sharing, explaining. Now, there are some skills involved, of course, how to do it clearly well. That point, though, where the person said, nah, I don't want to teach. This is just for me. And then they realize, wow, I could do this. I could share. And they become a teacher. And part of why I love that for them is because I know from my own experience, there are so many benefits in teaching. Because one, we get to actually learn the material better, whatever it is. There's that old truism that the evaluation of how to know how well you know something is, can you teach it? And the preparation is, I'm going to learn this, and not just learn this better, I'm going to learn it in a way that allows me to share it with people better. Right? Which, if we go high level metaphysics on this, that also means I'm going to become someone who knows this. So it's congruent in me. Because then when I share, when I teach, it's natural. It happens easily. The preparation, instead of I'm going to get this right and prove myself, then becomes I'm going to learn this more. I'm going to become it. The material, I'm going to become a master, an expert in this realm. And it gets to be fun because it's about who I am. The primary payoff of teaching is, so let's give you 3 good reasons to teach. One, and then this is in reverse order. One, because you like doing it and you can make some money with it. Just above that, it helps people, right? People learn things and then they can have better experiences in whatever the topic is, whatever their life is. 3, though, or the number 1 reason for this is because we become wiser, more whole, smarter, more congruent with whatever that topic is. What else? Why else is teaching great? Because teaching puts us on the line, meaning If Friday at 3 p.m. I've committed to teaching this class, even if at noon I have an argument with my partner and I don't feel like it, or I feel shy, or I start judging myself thinking I'm not good enough, they're not going to like me. I've said I'm going to do it, and so I got to get over that stuff, right? Or at the least, put it to the side. The phrasing we used for the yoga teachers a lot back in those days was, when you walk into the shala, the yoga room, you leave your stuff at the side because now you are here for others. That is powerful. That is one of the best ways of therapizing oneself, is just to show up for others, to put our focus on others. I've got so many problems when I'm focused on myself. When I'm focused on you, no more problems. All right. When we teach, we hear. One mouth, two ears. And that brings us, y'all, to the third and final principle, after which I will give you three shifts, three things you can do today to help more people, to again have them leaning in so they would love your wisdom. Number three is invitation over invasion, as in, invitation creates transformation, invasion creates resistance. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. I have something for you. Would you like it? That's an invitation. You're doing that wrong. Let me show you the right way. That's an invasion. For years, I lived in various communities with gurus, and one particular beautiful man by the name of Paul Lowe, he always encouraged us in that community to give each other feedback. Right? Give each other feedback. Here's what I see. This is what's going on. Now, many of us were not so skillful at that. Right? And so, as my friend Jamie put it one time, most of the feedback is actually feed forward, right? And there's a general truism that all feedback is projection. I'm telling you what I see. That's what I see. That's about me. Now, it does not mean that feedback is useless. It can be very useful. I remember Ken Blanchard's quotation, feedback is the breakfast of champions. However, to make it useful, it takes discernment. So let's break it down. When Paul said, give each other feedback, he also said, most of the feedback you give is really for you. How does that work? I'm giving feedback, but it's really for me? Well, because it was practice for us to spot things, to see things, behaviors, attitudes. Because it's easier to see stuff out there than it is to see it here. How does that biblical line go? Before you talk about the splinter in someone else's eye, take the log out of your own. Or in the complaint-free challenge, complaint is like bad breath. It's easy to smell on others, easy to miss it in ourselves. So projection, feedback, giving it to others is useful so that we become more aware. The evolution of that, however, is to realize that when we are noticing in someone else, when we are feeding back, right? And actually, whether we tell them what we see or we just see it, one of the keys is, do I have any judgment? Am I judging them, that behavior, as less than, deficient, wrong in some way? And if so, if there's emotional charge with it, that is a really clear indicator to me, I I'm projecting out the negative charge because I got that in me, right? What I'm seeing over there, I have in me. And when we're on the other side, are you with me? When we're on the other side receiving feedback, well, yeah, we can be aware. That's projection. They're just telling us what they see. It's really about them. However, and if several people say the same thing, hmm, we might want to pay attention to that. If we have a response of, no, it's not true, we might want to take a look at that. So the feedback is useful. We can take it on, and take it on is not the expression. We can take it in at any point as someone consciously growing, very useful. And we can be discerning. I'll take a look at that. I want to feel into that, see if I find that useful. For me as a writer, as an author, feedback is so important. I rely upon it, and especially in any artistic endeavor. I'm speaking about this generally because your life is your art. So, in any artistic endeavor, it's hard for us to see ourselves, to see our work, our writing, our painting. We rely on other people's perspective. However, the artist always has the ultimate choice. It's your life, it's your art, it's my writing. I will listen to many other people. And still, if I feel like that word or that line is what's most true, I'm going to keep it. So when we receive feedback from people, the best two things you can say are thank you. Thank you. Because it takes courage to give feedback. Now I have the possibility of seeing something that I didn't see before from a different perspective. That's it. Going back to the flip side, the giving feedback, and again, whether you see it or speak it, noticing in others, one of the best things you can say to yourself is, what's my version of that? How am I doing that same thing in my own life? As we come to a close here, we've talked about the teaching trap, which is also the proving problem. We've talked about the joy and benefits of teaching. And when I say we, I mean me. Hopefully, you're listening and you're responding, right? Are you saying yes when I ask you a yes question? Yes? Teaching refines the teacher. So many benefits to teaching. Makes the world a better place, especially when we have invitation. We're not just teaching because we need to, we're teaching because someone said, yeah, I would like to hear that. I went to a friend's yoga class the other day, right? And here are the three things that you can do. One, get buy-in. Ask permission first. I do this with my daughter all the time. Right? And there's so many things, parents, you know this so well. There's so many things we see our children doing that we know, we believe, for sure, is going to result in pain, problem, difficulty. There's a general truism that if we tell them what we see, what they could do differently, should do differently, their instinct, and it's a natural born instinct because they're separating, is to push off on that. So I've learned to say to my daughter, hey, can I offer you something? Right? I see that you're struggling with that thing. Could I offer you something? And then I listen. And she's like, yeah, okay. She didn't really mean it. She's like, all right, I'm going to tolerate you, Pops. She doesn't call me Pop. She calls me Papa. Or, yeah, right? Yes, you can. I would like you to. Yes, please. So, number one, get buy in, ask permission, and then discern, are they just being polite or do they really want it? So often when people say to me, Okay, I'm open. I'm like, okay, well, if you're open, that's cool. I appreciate that. I don't want to or need to share this with you unless you actually really want it. And a great example I had of this the other day, I went to my friend Kara's yoga class, incredible yoga teacher, and I had shared with her some of the things I saw that were going so beautifully in her class, just high level teaching. And and then it occurred to me, I was like, oh, this might be helpful. I was like, oh, I noticed something that you might not be aware of that you might want to be. Could I offer you that? And I loved her response. She's like, yes, please. Like so eager and open. And I shared with her, it was just a little linguistic thing that I had noticed. And it's so easy for us to do. We think we're clear about something, and especially as yoga teachers, because everybody figures out and they do it. And she was so grateful for it. Please, yes, I would love to hear that. And there's a wisdom in that because again, we often don't get it. People just pull away, move away, don't come back to our store. Feedback is gold. The second way you get people leaning in is by not needing to share it. Like if somebody says to me, "No, I'm not interested." Cool. I just saved some time. They saved some time. I got other things to focus on. Totally good by me. I don't need to share anything anymore. I don't need to teach anything. I'm good. In fact, in many ways, I'd rather be learning. I'd rather be reading a book or studying or moving my body. So, number three, don't need it. Lao Tzu, sorry, number two, you create the desire by not needing it. Lao Tzu said, reportedly, those who know do not speak. Those who speak do not know. Now, that might be a little oversimplified, yet there's a good point there. Oftentimes, the people that are speaking the most don't really know because they're speaking in order to learn it. We teach in order to learn. And last, when we are pointing the finger out, when we are judging, seeing what's not going right over there, it's a little bit silly. Another truism, though, one finger out, three fingers pointing back at me. Right? Feedback, judgment is projection, always. Doesn't mean there's not truth in it or there's not value. There can be, yet it's always projection. So when you feel the urge to change someone else, to tell them what they're doing wrong, ask yourself one question. What's my version of that? How am I doing that? Maybe not in the same way, maybe completely different. Yet, what's that energy going on that I also have going on in my life? Y'all, thank you for being interested in making your life more beautiful. Thank you for being with me. I love you. See you in the next video. Aloha.